Hello everyone. Unfortunately, yesterday during the virtual lab, I forgot to record our virtual lab, so I'm making this video for this week's assignment. But as I also mentioned during the virtual lab yesterday, midterm project is in module 8. So let me briefly explain about midterm project. So here M8 midterm project is 100 points. And you are going to analyze a data by Netflix. And you have the Jupyter notebook here. You just need to fill out the Jupyter notebook. I can show you also here as well. So this is the Jupyter notebook I uploaded. You are going to follow each steps and fill out the sections that are required in this Jupyter notebook. You have 9 steps. So going back to the assignment, I want everyone to check midterm project and guidelines for each step because you have hints in this document for each step for coding. So let me also show this one. As you see here, this is the introduction, step 1, and there is a hint here. So I want you to go over and complete the coding as soon as possible, because coding is not the only thing you will do for this assignment. You need to write a short paper based on your analysis. So next virtual lab, I'm going to ask if you have any problem in any steps, and I will go over and explain the coding part. That's very important that this weekend, if you have time, take a look at this code and make sure that every step is clear and you understand each hint is given here. And going back to the assignment, then you are going to fill out the parts that I'm asking you to complete and run the code. And you complete until step 9, and then going back to the assignment, you are going to write a short paper answering this question. Are we certain that movies are getting shorter? So this is your job. First, you will complete the Jupyter notebook coding part, following midterm project guidelines and steps, and then you are going to answer this question and write a short paper. And for submission, you need to upload your Jupyter notebook, and also you need to upload your Word document containing your short paper. These 2 documents are together will be graded. So this is about midterm project. Going back to the virtual lab, we talk about a Walmart sales data that I find from Kaggle. Kaggle is an online depository of business and any type of data you can find. So they are public. You can go and download the data and write your code. You can share your code and get feedback from others. So it's a way of you can improve yourself by practicing. So the first thing is we need to import pandas. And as I said, pandas is the key package for business analysts because we are using pandas to analyze the data, such as sort the data, aggregate the data, filter the data, and so on. So Walmart sales data includes details of sales transactions from Walmart stores with columns such as store, date, weekly sales, holiday flag. If it's a holiday that day, then it's 1, otherwise 0. Temperature of the day, fuel price, CPI, consumer price index, which is the price level in the economy, and the unemployment rate. So let's read this data first. We are using pd.read_csv. Since I upload the Walmart sales here under this file, reading this data is I just use the read_csv, and in the quotation mark I use the title, name of the data set, and the extension. But my working directory is this file. If your working directory is another file, then you need to provide the full path of the dataset, which I explain in Virtual Lab 5. And you can go and check one more time how to find the working directory and how to change the working directory by checking Virtual Lab 5. So let's see the first 5 rows of the dataset. So as you see here, we have the store number, date, weekly sales, holiday flag 01, temperature, fuel price, CPI, and unemployment rate. So let's answer this question. Sort the data frame by the weekly sales in descending order. Determine the store with the highest weekly sales record. So if you carefully follow the videos I posted for week 7, lesson 1, we are using the sort values function. But first we need to tell Python which data frame we are using. and we save our data here as data. Therefore, we are going to first tell Python data is our data frame dot, and then we use the sort values as a function. And sort values has one argument. It's actually for this one we are using two arguments from this function. With by, you are going to tell Python based on which column you want to sort this data, and we want to sort this data by weekly sales. And when you call a column from a data frame, we always use square brackets, and since weekly sales is a text heading, you have to keep weekly sales in quotation mark, comma. The second argument of this sort values function is we need to tell Python whether we want ascending or descending. If you don't include anything here without this, then the results will be automatically sorted by ascending order. But if you want descending, then you need to type here ascending equals false. Now the data set is ready to be sorted with this code here. And here I assign this sorted data set to a new data frame, which is called sorted underscore weekly underscore sales. And let's run this. And let's first visualize the data. Sorted weekly sales. As you see, now the data set sorted by highest sales to lowest sales. And returning back to the question is asking determine the store with the highest weekly sales record. So given this list, I know that store 14 has the highest weekly sales record, but I just want this number. Okay, how we can get this number from this new data frame? So I'm calling this new data frame sorted weekly sales dot. I'm using ilog because I know that ilog is index based. So I want the first index, right? First index is this one, store 14. So first index is 0. Always indexes starts in Python with 0. So when I say ilog 0, then Python understand that I want this entire row. But I don't want the entire row here. I just want the store value, store number. So I'm going to call the store column here. So this one is for row and this one is for column. And if we run this and I save this as store underscore highest underscore weekly sales, you will see that Python finds the store number based on first index. Right, 0 index, the column is store. Let's look at the next question. Sort the data frame by the unemployment column in ascending order. So first, remember, we need to tell Python which data we are dealing. Our data frame called data. And next, we are using sort values function. In the parentheses, we need to tell Python based on which column we are going to sort the data. And here by unemployment. So when we refer a column from this data frame, we use the square brackets, and inside the square brackets, since unemployment is heading or text, we need to keep it in quotation mark. And I don't need to use the second argument here because we want ascending order. For ascending order, you don't need to type anything. Therefore, let's run this one. And the question is asking which store has the lowest reported unemployment rate. Again, the question is asking the exact number or the name of the store. And for that reason, as you see here, I created a new data frame, sorted underscore unemployment. And I use that data frame and I use ilog to refer to the 0, right? This is the 0 index and I want the column store. And let's run this. And we save this into this variable. And here if we run this, we will find out store number 4 has the lowest unemployment rate. Next question, calculate total weekly sales for each store and create a new data frame with these totals. Includes this data frame in your report. So let's visualize. So as you see here, store 1 has several sales, weekly sales based on the date. So the question is asking for each store, store 1, 2, 3, find the sum of the sales. So instead of you have store 1 here and sales for several different dates, you want to have store 1 total sales over the period that the data set has data. And that's what we are going to do. So what we need to do this time is we need to group by. This is an aggregation. We want to aggregate sales. And we want to first group by store. That means I want to get total sales per store. Therefore, I'm using group by function, and this is explained in the second lesson of this week's module. So first we call the data frame, which is data dot group by function. Inside the group by, you need to tell Python what is the argument that you're grouping the sales. And in this case, we are grouping the sales based on store. But what is your aggregation on it? For aggregation, as you see, group by is completed here. This is the function group by, and inside you are telling Python which column the Python should group by. And after that, we need to include the column that we want to do aggregation. And as you remember, when we want to call a column, we use the square brackets. And dot sum function is going to give us the total sales. So we need to tell Python which aggregation function the Python should use. It could be sum, it could be mean, it could be median, and so on. So let's run this one. And we assign this results into a new data frame called total underscore sales underscore per underscore store. So let's run this one. You see now we have the aggregation, store 1, total sales, store 2, total sales, and so on. And as you see, we have 45 stores. And the next question is compute the average weekly sales across all stores and report this value. This time we don't need to do group by because it doesn't say, the question doesn't say per store or any other column. So for that reason, we are just looking for average sales of all stores. Therefore, I call my data frame and then I call the column weekly sales because I want to get the average of weekly sales, and I use the mean function for aggregation. And here we can find out that this is the average weekly sales. Next question, group the data by holiday flag and calculate the average weekly sales for holiday weeks versus non-holiday weeks. Present your findings in the report. So now again, we need to group the data by holiday flag. And if you remember, holiday flag is 0 or 1, 0 for non-holiday, 1 for holiday. Therefore, the first thing we will do is we will group the data by holiday flag, right? That's what we want, data group by holiday flag. And which column we use this aggregate function? Weekly sales, therefore I call the weekly sales. And the aggregate function is mean because we want average weekly sale. And I'm using reset index to have a nice presentation of the data starting from 0 index and so on. So let's run this one. And I call this new data frame sales, holiday or not. And if we run this, you will see that for holiday flag for 0, that means non-holiday days, this is the average sales. And for holidays, this is the average sales. Let's see this question. Identify the top 3 dates with the highest overall weekly sales. So we want to group by date and we want to get the highest 3 sales. So first data frame, function group by, and this time we want to group by date column. And we want to do aggregation on weekly sales and we want the total sales. That's why I have the aggregate function of sum here. And we want the largest 3 and largest 3. And since we want to present the data starting from 0 index, we use the reset underscore index function. Let's run this one. And we assign the entire aggregation into a new data frame, top sales dates. And now we know that the top sales dates are 24/12/2010, 23/12/2011, 25/11, 2011. And next question, find out if there is a significant difference in average weekly sales between holiday and non-holidays. So we need to find out first holiday sales and non-holiday sales. And if you look at this one, holiday sales is the second index. This is the first index, this is the second index. of the weekly sales column. So we can call that number, right? Holiday sales equals to which data frame we are referring to. It's very important that we are referring to right data frame, and that data set is called sales holiday or not. So therefore I call that data frame, and I use ilog and I use index 1 because it's in the second row. And then which column we are referring to? Weekly sales. So let's run this and let's run this. So we got the holiday sales. For non-holiday sales, we are going to call the same data frame, but this time ilog refers to the 0 index. And again, weekly sales. Run this one. And now we can find the differences. Difference in sales is equal to holiday sales minus non-holiday sales. We run this one. And then we run this one. We get that the difference is 81,631. So this is how we use the sort and aggregate functions using pandas in Python. If you have any questions, please let me know.